Hey everybody, tag Life Done Free. As I often do, I like to post videos about the comments that are left on the channel. It for me, it's kind of a motivation piece. There's a lot of times when I'm lacking motivation or I'm struggling with something, and quite often these comments keep me going. Hey, also, in addition, I've got a kind of a special announcement to make at the end of this video. We have some really cool guests coming out to the farm here shortly, and I know many of you will be very interested. So if you hang out to the end of the video, I'll give you a little bit of details. Thanks. So today I'm just going to kind of go over the last 4 or 5 videos, talk about a few comments like I often do. So the first one was came from Charles Scarborough, and this was on the homesteading tool video, the bee mobile, if you remember the Kubota, the Super Bee. But anyway, he said, taming Mother Nature and bending to your will is always a fight. When you're in a fight, if you're not cheating, you don't want to win bad enough. Good on you for making the most of your resources. This is a deep comment. There's a lot of pieces to it. First of all, energy management is key to being successful in this lifestyle, especially if you're older. And I've got to use the things around me. We challenge it every single day out here at the farm. And I try to think to myself, okay, I'm going to be 70 sometime. And how do I make watering the garden, or how do I make weeding the garden, or whatever it is, just a little bit easier. To me, energy is an asset. And in fact, it's an asset that needs more management than my money. This isn't even totally about physical energy management, but also emotional energy. What am I investing my energy into? And I look at this when it comes to relationships, when it comes to business endeavors, all kinds of things. What am I going to give my energy to? Because it's my most valuable resource. But back to Charles, his point, I think you do got to use everything around you to the best of your ability. So, love the comment. The second one I wanted to talk about came from Danny at Deep South Homestead. And the only reason I'm even going to bring this comment up is because there's an inside joke that's been going around for a while. And if for any of you that read through the comments, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense to you. So I'm going to kind of let the cat out of the bag. But Danny said, love the bee mobile. Going to come in handy going to the Wallapini. So somehow I got myself into a situation where Danny and Wanda and my wife Bee are all harassing me about building her a Wallapini. And so these jokes go back and forth. And if you've looked at the last, 5, 6, or 8, Deep South comments, it all has to do with the Wallapini. So I think it's quite funny. The truth be told, though, is I'm absolutely going to build Bee a Wallapini, but I'm not going to build it without getting mileage. I mean, that's not going to happen. I mean, I could certainly get some cookies out of this deal. I'm going to get all kinds of stuff out of this deal before I fully commit. So it's kind of why I'm filming this video alone. Is let's not let Bee know this, but I will get her one, but not until I get some mileage. Badger Mamau said, love the Super Bee. Tools help us work smarter, not harder. It's all work. Why not make it a little easier, and it's not cheating? I 100% agree. And I said this a little bit with Charles' comment earlier about using the things around me and managing my energy capital because it's just super valuable. But I think there's another really cool thing inside this comment. I put things like a Super Bee sticker on her Kubota. I've done this to lots of different things. She has a gun that she uses that I went and had Cerakoted in flowers because she likes it, because, it makes her proud of it. And so I'm investing, my energy and my capital and those kind of things also in making, my wife's day-to-day work, full of pride and, something that she enjoys doing. And, whatever it is, if she tells me tomorrow, hey, I really want a spotlight on my, Kubota so that, I can drive the property more. I mean, that's an absolute great investment. She's not out trying to get me to buy her Coach purses. So I like this comment, and I'm going to keep trying to make Super Bee things along the way. On the community part 2 video, Jenny, I hope I say that right, Greer, said, when building a community, hopefully you have family in that. As for me and my husband owning a dairy farm and knowing the shit will hit the fan is going to happen, I don't think we'll be able to hang on to it. Too many variables to try to protect it. So with family not believing the things that are happening, it doesn't leave you a lot of help. Even friends don't think anything's wrong. They don't think there's going to be food on the shelves or that utilities may become unaffordable. So I prep for ourselves and my grandchildren. It's hard to know where to start other than storing food. There's a lot to do to become self-sustainable. I was never a prepper before 2020 because I was naive like so many. We keep pretty much to the farm as it takes a lot to care for the 1,000 animals. There's so much in this comment, and this is actually only partial the comment. It was longer, but I just tried to copy and paste for the aspect of time. But so I'm going to kind of tackle some of these. She began talking about when building a community, hopefully you have family in that. Family is such an interesting word to me. I would imagine most families, I have people in my family who are great people. I mean, people that I absolutely look up to, people that would be there for me if I needed them. But I have the other side, of it too. I have people around me that I love a lot who also don't believe in these kinds of things and probably even think I'm a little bit crazy. And I'm going to give you guys an example. So when I built my house, I built it with 3 master suites. Well, and I've had a lot of people say, why do you need such a big house? Well, the truth is I have 2 grown boys. I believe they're coming home. I believe that the way the world is and the things that are going on, there's going to come a time they're coming home. And so I just planned for them, a spouse and 1.3 kids to, eventually be back, at Grandpa's house. So whether they believe or they don't believe or they think I'm silly or they don't think I'm silly, it was just my responsibility to take care of them. So I did. Now, I'm a pretty lucky guy. Both of my grown boys are very freedom loving. And so it was pretty easy. But, sometimes we have to prep for those who won't prep for themselves. And, sometimes we have to look out for them. The other side to this is I mentioned earlier, family is an interesting word. And as you guys know through this channel, I've interviewed lots of people. And most of those people I've been friends with over a decade. And they are my family. And so I'm going to look out for them too. She also mentioned that there's a lot to do to become self-sustainable. I don't even know if self-sustainable is possible, to be honest. We've talked about this in a lot of videos, and freedom is such an interesting thing. You can be financially free. You can be energy independent. You can be, a lot of these things. But at the end of the day, you're still buying something somewhere. I can't produce salt, for example. And so I don't know that self-sustainable is even possible, but I do think that we can get very, very close. And this should not discourage anybody. I mean, at the end of the day, every little piece that you take out of the system, whether it's energy or whatever it is, that's that much less stroke that they can get over on you. And you just keep whittling it down until, that what you absolutely have to have is a minimum. And I think you can do that. And that's, again, what we're working on here at the farm. Then the last part of the statement, she said, we pretty much keep to ourselves at the farm and take care of our 1,000 animals. Man, you are so far ahead. 1,000 animals. Your place ought to be a pretty popular place. Anything happens. And so I would certainly take security into account too. And I'm going to do a series of security videos. But congratulations to you. On the 1,000 animals, and thank you for reaching out. I really appreciated the comment. Marie W. said, I appreciate all your views in this discussion. I have to say the most difficult thing for me has been OPSEC. For those who don't know, that stands for Operational Security. Not long in this situation, I'm introverted and have had a couple bad inquiries, i.e. a woman I barely know in our apartments were talking, and out of the blue she asked, do you have a gun? The bug guy was, I'm pretty sure, casing out my apartment. I've become even more introverted, especially in public places. It's a real dilemma for me. I think this is a great question. I think a lot of people find themselves, kind of right here. So here's a couple pointers that I would give. The first thing is create space. And what I mean by that is I typically would not have a, shit hit the fan or homestead, type conversation with the plumber who come to the house. I typically wouldn't let it get that close. And if someone came up to me and just the first question they asked was, do you own a gun? Guys, people with good intentions, real purpose, are not going to ask that question. They're just not. And so that would absolutely throw a red flag up to me. But, one other point I think is really important to this. There are many bad people out there. There are many people out there that would do you harm, but there's also some really good ones. And you have to have faith that if you do it smart, and you work hard at it and you keep OPSEC in mind, you know that you'll be able to find those kinds of people. Again, I like this comment. Angelina Fales said, okay, this is my style. I noticed a new neighbor a few blocks away was starting a garden. I saved a few of my tomato starts, then drove by the other day and dropped them off as a friendly gesture as a nearby and fellow gardener. This is almost the perfect comment. This is exactly how you do it. Exactly. She didn't, do it at her home, as we talked about, in the last comment. She found someone who was out there living that type of lifestyle. She, gave of herself, which if you're not willing to give of yourself, you'll never have a community. I can't tell you the number of times I got a great deal on, whatever it was from, fencing or, building material or whatever, that I really could have kept all of it and I really could have used it at some point, but I knew somebody was in need. And so I just did my part to help them out. And you got to give of yourself. I think, Angelina, I think you're doing it exactly right. And I think this right here is how you build camaraderie. I think this is how you build a family. And this is how you build a tribe. And yeah, I love this comment. And you keep doing it. And I'm going to tell you, hats off to you. I'm very impressed. Pete the Squatchy, who I talk to through the comments from time to time, seems to be a really intelligent guy, and also, I'm assuming a guy by Pete. But also, I think he's been at this a while, because some of the comments that he makes to it tells me he's got some experience in this. He commented that outer circle, try to be the nucleus and watch who gets drawn to you. We went outside our comfort zone and finding out very few get drawn in as they are too comfortable with everything going on around us. So sad, Squatchy out. What's so powerful about this statement is he said, be the nucleus. We word it a little bit differently in my circles. We always talk about someone has to drive the bus. But here's the thing, leaders lead, and a leader and a manager are not the same thing. So if you go out there and lead and be that positive influence and impact people the right way and be that nucleus, I think it absolutely helps with the overall goal. And when he sent this over to me, and it was 10 or 12 days ago, in the comments, I instantly started just because I love the comment, be the nucleus. So I'm going to do my part to be the nucleus. And Pete, thank you very much, for commenting this. I appreciate it a lot. JB said, I am reluctant to meet people outside my immediate circle. Seems independent, freedom-minded people are public enemy one these days. I like this comment a lot too. For many, many years I hid. I watched what I posted on Facebook. I watched, how I, presented myself out in the public. I had companies that I had worked for that I was trying to protect, and, I didn't want any of it to come back on them. And, I played the game and all that, and look where it got me. I mean, these companies that I talk about, well, one in particular, when all the heat came down and, the mandates started down, they gave me an ultimatum and I drew a line, and, that was kind of the end of it for that. And I'm not hiding anymore, guys. And I'm going to say what I feel, and I'm going to talk about freedom, and I'm going to try to spread freedom. And freedom-minded people are becoming public enemy number one. But all of this, sitting back and waiting and hiding, look where it's gotten us. The problem just continues to get worse. Now is the time to stand up. Now is the time to go to your school board meetings. Now is the time to get involved. Do it locally, whatever it is. Pay attention to who gets elected for your local sheriff. Get involved. If we just continue to stand back behind the scenes and watch, this is only going to continue to get worse and worse and worse, and then there'll be no one left to help. So I appreciate the comment. I'm not hiding. Mandy Garrett. Mandy's had a lot of really good comments lately. She says, this is on the Saw video when I reviewed the Milwaukee Saw. She said, thank you, Tag. Do you have any recommendations on a laser leveler or tools that use to find contour to the land, because I'm planning to dig some pond and swells. We plan to use this tool for other stuff because we have 60 acres, but for now I need it for pond and swells. Thank you. And I know it's not related to the Saw, but I've had this question a couple times as far as laser leveler tools. I have a DeWalt that I got from Amazon. It was like $80, but what's crazy about it is I really don't use it that much. Most of the time when I'm leveling swells and those kind of things, I'm using a string and a string level. I just prefer it. Maybe it's just because I'm old, I don't know. But you can get a roll of string for $4 and another level for another $4, and $8 can do the exact same thing. It's a little more work, but anyway, I like the DeWalt just fine. You know, like I said, I use it from time to time, especially if it's big, long distances. It works, you know, a lot better, but doesn't work very good in light. And it's got to be a little bit darker outside, you know, for that laser to show up. But that's why I wanted to include the comment. Susan Gray said, I have always hated working with old saws just because you work above it. This saw changes everything and the battery to boot. Yeah. Well, guys, I'll tell you, you know, the one of the things I like about the rear-handled saws, you know, again, we used to call them worm drive saws, but it's not really a worm drive because a worm drive has a particular set of gears in it that make it a worm drive. But anyway, these rear-handed saws is it puts us back from the cut. And so because I'm back from the cut, I can make a much straighter cut. And then in addition to this, the batteries. You know, I can go anywhere on my property, and I've got a pretty good chunk of land, and I can go build a bridge or I can go build whatever and take all my tools with me. You know, battery technologies come, you know, a long way. Also, though, because I have solar, I think it also benefits the batteries because, you know, charging is easy. But I will tell you, there is one downside to the battery thing, which is they have a lifespan on them. You know, typically, because I use my tools hard, I'm always building something. You know, my typical batteries last me 5 or 6 years. And then I'm having to replace it. So if you can't replace it, you can't really deal with the tools, you know. So I have some corded stuff that I've had in years past, saws and drills and those kind of things that I could use if I needed to. But for now, I'm absolutely going to use the batteries. I really like how it works. And, you know, I've gone through lots of different brands. I've had DeWalt. I went to Rigid for a long, long time because of their lifetime warranty. If you register them, they'll warranty them for life. But it sure seems to me that the work that goes into doing a claim on a tool is not even worth it. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've been mad at Rigid. So you see Badger Mama says, I like your review of the saw, especially for off-grid operations. We have 38 acres. Always need to get the job done. You have no electricity around, not an option. I am not dragging a cord behind you. Not dragging a cord behind you is important. The hardiness and portability of the saw and practical aspect is worthy of the purchase. Yeah, I think this comes into energy management like we talk about all the time. And, you know, I like being able to, you know, jump in the Ranger or whatever and drive to the other side of the, you know, the property and, you know, fix a gate or, you know, whatever it is. You know, I've got some ideas about building some bridges over some of the streams that I have, and, you know, I'd love to go out there and be able to do it. So I absolutely agree with you, Badger. And, you know, not having the cords big, and more importantly, not having a generator, you know, not have to haul that all the way around as well. So like the comment, and I agree with you 100%. Champagne Reed said, I've been debating if I want to get one of these or not. Again, she's referring to the Milwaukee Saw that I reviewed. They kind of scare me. I'm afraid that I'll cut myself. She says, I'm klutz at times, laugh out loud, but my work around has been to go to Home Depot, get the wood, and have them cut it. But it's great to see the different option and hear your thoughts on them. These videos have been great for me, so I really appreciate them. Yeah, you know what? Saw thing's interesting. Bee's always been pretty scared of the saws, and I really push her hard to get out there and use it. Because if used correctly, if you use it in the manner in which it's used, you know, don't take the guards off, you know, those kind of things, they're actually really, really safe. I'm super comfortable using them. And, but in fairness, Champagne, I can tell you, you know, Bee's not. And, you know, she works on it, she uses them, but it's certainly not, you know, her favorite thing. The other thing is, you know, I think we have to be ready for, you know, the days where we're kind of on our own. And, you know, so going to Home Depot to have stuff cut, you know, I hope is always an option, right? But it may not be. And then the other thing is, you know, you're out on the homestead, and I know that you've got, you know, aspirations to continue to grow that life. You'll be out there and something will break that'll need fixed. I mean, could you imagine having to take, you know, a door on a chicken coop completely off to haul it all the way down to Home Depot to see if they'd make a cut for you? And I don't even know if they would, but, you know, so I'd actually encourage you to, you know, to get started and get yourself a saw, you know, and get comfortable. Just use it the way it's intended to, and I promise you, you'll be just, you know, just fine. Okay, let me see here. Oh yeah, so Suzanne Sullivan, 65. I liked this one a lot. This was on the Midwest Preparedness video. She said, I just found your YouTube channel a couple months ago. I'm so happy to see a great group here in Northeast Kansas and want to make the next event. Please post the classes if you can. Thank you. Well, first, Suzanne, I hope to meet you. This is one great way to build community. The last event that I went to, the Preparedness Project, and, I posted a video about it. I met 2 people from this channel that came out, and, we walked around and talked and chit-chatted, and they're just great people. And, we exchanged contact information, and I'm sure that we'll do some hanging out or maybe, do some working on the homestead, or whatever it is. But I hope it's really, many more to come. The fall one's already underway, but, B and I are going to go do some of these homesteading conventions across the country this year, and so I hope to meet some of you guys out there. But Suzanne, come on out. I look forward to meeting you. Dustin Roberts and this is the Midwest Preparedness video. He said, I planted some maple and box elder trees today that I dug up from an old garden spot. I made syrup from my big trees earlier this year, and everyone loved it. I plan to use the syrup for bartering if I need to. It's a small step, but it's one step closer. Absolutely. I have never made syrup. I do have the equipment to do it. I purchased it, a couple years ago, but I've never ventured into it. I think it'd make a great barter item. And, in fact, I'd barter it for today, right now today. Hint, hint, hint. I love that homemade, kind of stuff. But I think this is a great idea, Dustin. And, the thing that I'd encourage you to do is, make a small business out of it. Do a little bit of branding. Go out there. Even if you don't make a ton of money doing it, it gets everything kind of put in place, that it will help you later on down the road. But, Dustin, I like this comment a lot. And, again, I really like syrup. Did I mention I like syrup? All right. So, Lucybourne, and this would be on... This is the pond destruction video. She said, good morning, Tag. I love the videos you do. They inspire me to keep moving. I'm building a greenhouse with just stuff laying around. My husband felt better yesterday. Congratulations, by the way. And we went and cut some trees down for my entry post. That took a lot out of him, so he's resting today. But now I can peel them and let them dry. Got myself a mini tiller. The big one's just too big right now. Until I clear more land, I've started digging and replanting wild raspberries and blackberries. I've started my fruit garden, still getting below freezing at night here in central Ontario, Canada, but it's lovely through the day. I'm glad your dreams are happening day by day. Bye for now. You and B, stay safe and God bless. This is such a cool comment. Encouragement goes a long way, and you'll hear me say that a lot. Comments like this, they'll keep me going. I get many people who, comment on my channel and say, hey, Tag, thanks for inspiring me. But guys, it's a community. And the truth is you guys inspire me a lot. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. There's times where, I'm fighting motivation or I just don't want to do it. I'm burned out. I've worked, 40 days in a row or whatever it is. And you guys absolutely inspire me. And, Lucy, you've commented a lot and I take a lot from it. And so keep doing it. But I think that's really what it's about. And that's why we always talk about community. Is because you get people around you and, sometimes I have to be the 80 when someone else can only be the 20 and vice versa, and sometimes, B has to be my 80 because I'm only 20. And so I really like this comment. Aquadrop61 said, maybe get the silt tested for the chemical contamination. If good results, then do a garden soil test. It would probably make great garden soil for your vegetable garden. This is exactly what I want to do with it. We broke that dam up there because that pond has been there for so long. And I think I mentioned it in my video. The neighbor up there, he's got to be getting to be 70 years old. He's an old farmer, owns a bunch of land kind of close to me. He told me that when he was a little boy, 5 or 6 years old, he used to swim in that pond. So it's got to be 60 plus years old at a minimum. I mean, I don't know how long it was there, before, he was even swimming in it. But so I knew it wasn't very deep. And, when we broke the dam, it really turned out to be about a foot deep. So all it was good for was really, mosquitoes. But so I'm going to let it dry out here for just a little bit where I can get in there and get some dirt out of it. But we'll absolutely have it tested. And I'm hoping what I can do is clean it all out, haul it over next to Bee's garden, and give her a bunch of really good soil as she continues on, her journey of making us food independent. Let me see here. We're still on the dam video, and so Rhonda Tankersley said, looks good. Glad you didn't tip over. Looking forward to the silt removal video. She says, I have a gas line going through 18 acres of wetlands with a foot of water in it, trying to trash pump it into my garden, but it's a very slow process. Well, a couple things. First of all, I'm glad I didn't tip over also. The good news is, had it slid down that embankment, it would have only gone down 3 or 4 feet. It had been in there sideways, but removing it would have been a whole lot harder. There was another comment on this video about this and asked me why didn't I just use the track hoe to get out. Well, the problem is the track hoe's 100 years old, not literally, but and it just didn't have the power. We tried to use the bucket to get me out of there, and it just didn't have it, so I had to use the bulldozer to get out. But to her main question here, talking about her gas line that goes through 18 acres of wetlands and trying to water pump it. I don't know if this will work for you or not, but I don't know how far you're pumping water from the wetlands into the garden. But I've used water pumps and a little solar panel to move water all over the place. And if you hook it up right through a pressure tank and all of this kinds of stuff, you can make it to where all you have to do is walk up to your garden and pull the trigger on your hose, and the whole system will kick on, by using a pressure switch and a pressure tank, which is not that expensive and available pretty much at every hardware store. If you go back and look at my rainwater system video, I did the whole system in there on how it works, and I hope, Rhonda, that helps you. But thanks for the comment. Last one. Okay, Gail Watkins said, "Tag, what is your idea for the silt you will remove? Good thing you didn't tip over. Be careful. Take care. Blessings always." Yeah, as I mentioned it before, Gail, again, I want to test it first. I want to see what's in there. I'm not 100% sure what's in there. Like I said, it's been, filling up for 60 years. And in fact, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if I find a car or two, down in there, as we're removing it out. But once I get it out, we'll absolutely get it tested and figure out what's the best thing for us. It's interesting as I continue on this journey, the way that I view things, I'm trying to plan for years down the road. And, right now we've got a bunch of really good soil. I found a cattle yard that had a pile of 10-year-old cow manure that had been sitting there for ever, as I mentioned. And so I hired a semi-truck, and it cost me about $100. It's more like $113 if I remember right. $113 to have a 27-ton load moved. When we took all they had, I ended up with over 500 tons of it. And we just brought it all back and piled it all up. But we've gone through it now. So that's what, the main fertilizer, that Bethany uses in all of her gardens and all of her swells and her, food forest and all of the things that she's doing. And so hopefully for me, the silt is that next pile that we can continue to expand the garden. This year we doubled its size. Next year I'm hoping to, grow it a little bit more, but that's how we'll do it. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate all the comments. I'd encourage you to comment on every video, and I love reading them, and just as importantly, respond to somebody else's comment. I really think that at the end of the day, community is all that matters, and it's the single most important thing. And whether that community is the larger circle all over the globe, to the smaller circle inside your country, or even down into your state or into your community, or right there into your town. But I think if we focus on community, we'll all be better off for it. So I really appreciate it. Well, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we have some special guests coming out to the farm. And so we're going to have Dr. Matthew and Nancy Coast come out here from the Buffalo Seed Company. And so Nancy, give you a little bit of background on her. She grew up in Bolivia, growing quinona, potato, and llamas in a resilient system that predicates the Inca Empire. She has since acquired a bachelor's degree in agronomy, from the Earth University of Costa Rica, and a master's science degree in tomato breeding from Ohio State University. Matthew's originally from Kansas City and has returned after obtaining a bachelor's in ecology and evolutionary biology from the University of Kansas and a PhD in evolutionary agroecology from the Ohio State University. Matthew has also worked in conserving amaranth and quinoa landrace diversity in Peru and arid adapted crops in the greater Southwest. Matthew and Nancy both have a deep knowledge and wisdom of seeds, seed systems, evolution, ecology, and adaptation. So I just read that directly off their website. But they'll be out here, and what they're going to do is we participate in a program as far as harvesting seeds and stuff. But these are particular seeds that are particularly grown to withstand the climate that I live in. And so they're used to the type of weather we get, the type of water we get. We won't use any, well, we won't on any of the garden. We won't use any, fertilizers. We won't use, any pesticides or herbicides. But I'm super excited, to be able to sit down and talk to somebody who, has a master's degree in tomato breeding. So we're pretty excited about it. We're considering doing it live so people can ask questions. I've got to see if I can get enough, signal out at the gardens to allow me to do it. So we're going to post a video either way, but I'm going to try to do it live. If you think you'd be interested in it live, let me know in the comments so that I can, gauge the interest. Because if it's just a couple people, I'll just film it and put it out there. But if there's a few of you that are interested in it, we'll try to do it. I'll link the Buffalo Seed Company in this video. But check them out. I think it's a really neat thing. B and Nancy have had many conversations and good conversations. And so we're super excited about this. I'm guessing it's going to be right about the middle of May when they come out here. And then I guess off we go. So I hope you're interested in it. And if you are, let me know. Thanks. Like I always tell you guys, live a little bit freer today than you did yesterday. Hold the line. Don't give an inch. Tag out. See ya.